that he's someone that gets things done. He's someone that does like can change really quick. If he wants something, he'll have it the next day. But yet his actions show very differently.
And we pump ourselves up. We're like, I'm going to do this. This is it. I'm done. And then you get to the end of your day and nothing changed. And it's like, okay, tomorrow. And then the same thing. Hey everybody, it's Bianca.
And it's Amelia.
Welcome to another episode of Evolve Ventures, where we're helping growth-minded humans evolve by breaking one limiting belief at a time. We hope you enjoyed the last episode, number 253, Motivation Monday. Who are your ride or die? For today, 254, do your actions speak louder than words? If you are listening to this episode, if you're someone who listens to this show, you're probably someone who really wants to be just the greatest version of yourself that you can. You want to be better in all of the areas of your life that matter, for your family, for your partner if you have one, for your kids, for your job, for yourself, for all of the areas that really matter to you. But if you're listening to this show, you're probably also somebody who has struggled in the past keeping up with that, doing the things that you need to, following through on the things that you need to do and you want to do, and probably feeling really stuck. Like, I want this so bad. I want to be better. Why am I getting in my own way? Why can't I just go do that thing? Why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? Probably feeling maybe even a little helpless. Like, I'm a consistent person. Why can't I just follow through? If that's you, this episode is for you. What we're going to talk about today is, why does that happen? Why is it that you can want so badly to do more, to be more, to have more, but you're getting stuck and maybe even getting a little bit in your own way?
That's ultimately one of the biggest things that we end up having to face, though, because when we are getting in our own way, how difficult is it to actually accept that? I know we've all been there before. And I know that one of the times where I experienced that too, the emotions that like flood you when that happens, it's like, woof, I want to do all these things. I want to be the best daughter, insert your role there, but that might not be possible for me right now. And an example I'll give here is I was sharing with actually a client earlier today, and it was really important to kind of see, looking back, how easy it is where our words can run a lot faster than our actions. And for me, that was the case when I realized I valued family more than they were being put on my calendar. And I'm the only one that controls my calendar, by the way. So when I realized, through the help of a trusted friend, Bianca, and also my partner, Alan, they didn't bring me to my knees, but they definitely held me accountable of like, there's a little bit of what we call cognitive dissonance here, where you're saying that you value family at a level 10, but the actions, your actions aren't speaking as loud as your words. And all of us can succumb to a moment like that where we have someone calling us out, for lack of better words, to that part of us that really just doesn't want to be seen, because woof, to see that is some of the hardest news we end up having to face. And what is it that gets in the way of that? Why do we end up having those moments where we want to become and we want to value and we want to do and be these types of people who do these types of things, but yet struggle to do that? I know for me, it was definitely being unrealistic with what I can get done in a day. and thinking that I can do all of these things every single day and be, 2.5 hours for family night and, traveling back and forth. It was just not realistic. But my biggest fear was letting other people down. And so that fear ends up actually culminating into saying yes to a lot of things that maybe, just maybe, we should have said no to, because that would have benefited us in some way, shape, or form. So for me, it wasn't necessarily a yes or no like that. It was more so being honest with myself that the way in which I want to value family is a level 10. When I'm capable of valuing them in terms of putting them on my calendar, in terms of my actions right now, being honest with myself is at a level 3. And when we cannot be honest with ourselves in that, that's where we oftentimes find the gap. That's where we find also everything to gain.
I don't think there's anything that feels worse, at least within yourself, when you keep making these promises to yourself and it's like, okay, today's going to be the day. Today's going to be the day when I finally do this, or I'm finally ready to make this change, or, I'm finally not going to do, I don't know, whatever the thing is for you. And we pump ourselves up. We're like, I'm going to do this. This is it. I'm done. And then you get to the end of your day and nothing changed. And it's like, okay, tomorrow. And then the same thing. You start to lose so much trust in yourself. You start to lose any sense of self-worth and self-confidence, because it's like, I can't stick to this stuff. What's wrong with me? Why am I so bad? Why can't I follow through? What's the problem with me? That's usually where I get clients. It's because they keep trying over and over and over again to do these things that they know so badly they want, but they're just getting so stuck in their own way for whatever reason. And honestly, one of the biggest reasons, and I know this is what this was for me in the past, was I think it was a few things. It was, number one, I didn't trust myself that I knew I was doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. So it's like, let's say it was fitness. This is a good example because I used to really struggle in the fitness arena. I used to really always just want to lose weight. I was like, I want to look like this. I want to look like that. I'm going to, tomorrow I'm going to start my diet. Tomorrow I'm going to start my diet. And then I would. And then the first couple of hours would be okay. And then all of a sudden I'd get a craving. And then it's like, oh God, you know what? Forget it. I can't do this anyways. And then I would binge. And then I would feel so ashamed that I would start restricting for like the rest of the day. And then the end of the day would come and I would feel so bad that I would binge again. And it was just this detrimental cycle. So honestly, I think number one of the biggest things is we don't trust ourselves that we know what we're doing. And number two, we don't trust in ourselves to be able to follow through. Meaning we don't believe in ourselves enough to stick with it. We don't believe in ourselves enough that, you can get yourself to that finish line and it'll be worth it. That you're the kind of person that can do it as much as you want to. It's like those limiting beliefs just get so wrapped up in our mind that we want this thing so bad, but we can't get rid of the limiting beliefs that are stopping us from actually getting it. And then we look like we're inconsistent. And then this feeling of imposter syndrome comes up where it's like, I'm a fraud. I say I want all of these things and I can't even commit to it. I say I want all of these things and I can't even get myself to do it. I'm a terrible person. That feeling is awful. like truly awful. And we've been there. I genuinely don't think there's anything worse than that feeling of not being able to trust yourself.
Hey everybody, my name is Matt. I am the Director of Marketing and Communications at a radio station here in Central Massachusetts. I've been a part of the Evolve team for about a year now, and I can say it's been nothing but great. Kind of diving into myself and realizing that I need to step out of my comfort zone and build that confidence in my insecurities, but also maintaining who I am as a person. This is a community that's not forcing anything upon you, that wants you to feel nothing but welcome. And it's just super genuine and super honest too, which I like. And again, just recognizing that you are your own person on your own journey, but everybody in the community is here with you. We're all at different stages in life, and that's a very important thing to recognize. So Amelia, Bianca, and Derek especially have helped me get to the point where I'm able to kind of excel in my career and in my personal life.
Huge. And then on top of that, you have to not trust the identity of what yourself is. Like what you just described, there is a client that I have in mind who called himself out that his actions do not map to the idea of himself that he's built himself to be. That he's someone that gets things done. He's someone that can change really quick. If he wants something, he'll have it the next day. But yet his actions show very differently. And having the experience of navigating after your identity starts to maybe crumble, that can be some of the most painful experiences that we have as we grow and evolve as adults, because we have this narrative that we've built about who we are and who we're not. And when our actions, and when we look at our actions, that's one of the reasons why it's so challenging to track what your day-to-day was. Track the metrics that are important. Track and measure your levels of success, because then we experience that wave of emotions that come when we meet ourselves on our knees, recognizing that even our identity doesn't really support this. What we think about ourselves and the narratives that we have about ourselves doesn't really measure up to where our actions have been. And that is another wave of really painful, tough emotions that I know a lot of us struggle to process, and certainly struggle to process adaptively, so that you don't have that cycle that you just talked about.
I think it also ties in to what you were saying about your struggle with this, which was the unrealistic expectations you were putting on yourself and the inability to follow through on that.
Yeah.
New Year's is coming around. So many of us, and I used to do this too. Like, I was the queen of this. You set a New Year's Eve goal, you set New Year's resolutions, you tell yourself you're going to do all of these crazy things because you're so ashamed of who you are, and you're just so sick and tired of being the person that you are, that it's like, I'm going to go so hard and so deep this time. I'm finally going to do it. I'm sick and tired of this. So you set the most unrealistic expectations, the most unrealistic goals you can think of. You go really hard for a week, maybe 2, maybe you can even stick it out for a month. I know there were times where I would go like 2 months, and then the burn down happens. Mm-hmm. Because it was so drastically different from who you are that you couldn't sustain it. And then that imposter syndrome is even further. Yeah. Of like, oh my God, I am a fraud. Oh my God, right. I can't do these things. The problem isn't that you're not capable of doing it. The problem is that your level of shame is so high that you just want change so fast. But that's not how real change happens. Mm-hmm. Real change happens slowly and over time. So to continue with the fitness example, the only way I was able to actually get to the point where I was able to be consistent was when I gave myself permission to let it be slow. So it took me 6 years, I think, to finally do an effective weight loss cut. Like, the amount of times I had tried over and over and over and over and over again, and I couldn't follow through on it. Mm-hmm. There was only one time where it actually worked, and it was because I gave myself the permission to let it be slow and take its time, and then it did. Mm-hmm. So, for everyone here listening, what is that one thing for you, or those few things? What are those areas where you know so badly you want to change them, you want to improve them, you want your actions to be louder than your words, and you've been having a really hard time with it? I would bet that you're probably setting some really unrealistic expectations on yourself, and because of that, you don't believe it's possible for you. You don't believe that you're capable of doing it, because to this point you haven't been yet. It doesn't mean you can't, but you got to give yourself the permission to let it take time, to let it be a slow process, to let yourself grow through this. That's where real identity change happens. It's in the day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month, year-to-year. But you got to be willing to let it be a process like that. That's how your actions eventually speak louder than your words. It's through time and effort in that time. Slowly doing more, slowly making changes, slowly having, the little wins that show you, oh, okay, I did it. Today I did it. Today I did these few things. Awesome. Now I'll try again tomorrow, because then you'll be more likely to do it.
Facts. And one of the biggest words that I want to round out this episode on is intentionality. And I echo so much your sentiment around the long game, around going slow, playing for just the now, playing for just the next 2 months, instead taking into account a realistic approach, which is that this is what I call a slow, fast life. It feels fast only when you're looking back, but it feels slow when you're in it. And that's the irony here. Because when you take more of a slow approach to this and you put pure intentionality into it, you're going to be far more better off when it comes to aligning your actions with your words. And then the next step, to have them speak louder than the words themselves. So with that said, I hope that this episode inspired each one of you to think about this concept a little bit differently, because when you can think differently on something, you're more probable to change behavior and have those behaviors be different with more intentionality underneath them and have those be more realistic. Bianca and I, it's very rare that this happens, but she and I both had the same episode suggestion for anyone who wants to get deeper into this topic, which is 198, Whose Life Are You Living? And I think that that's pretty cool because of the fact that that just goes to show. Yeah, for sure. We're in sync, number one, but also it goes to show how important that episode really is as a jump off point for this conversation.
Absolutely.
So that is, I'm going to leave on that note. B, any closing thoughts or episode final takeaways for this one?
Most of us feel like imposters because of this, because we're not giving ourselves enough time to make change really happen. We feel so ashamed that we just want the results immediately. And so we're jumping into action that we're not ready for yet. It's like if you've never run a marathon and then you jump the next day to run a marathon because you want to be a fit person. It's like, good luck with that. But I get it. That shame is so overbearing. It's crippling. That's what needs to be processed. And if you're somebody who is ready for that, if you're in a place in your life where you're like, I need change, I need something to be different, but you're also probably somebody who, like so many of us, has life going on. There's 1,000 things going on. You probably barely have time to eat and barely get any sleep because you're so focused on everybody else in your life, making sure that everybody else is being taken care of. And your own needs, your own self-care, your own, mental health is put to the side. Number one, you're definitely not alone. And number two, Amelia and I, Evolve Ventures, just released and just launched a brand new program called the #YouDoYou program. It is made for people just like each and every single one of you who maybe you're ready to dive in and start working with somebody, but you don't have the time to go meet with someone on an hour-long video call or to go in person. You have kids, you have family, you have other priorities that need to be addressed, and it feels like your mental health has to get pushed to the side because you just don't have the time or the energy for it. We created this program that is therapy and growth and coaching on your terms, at your fingertips. So it's all online. And it's really, really affordable. So if you're on a budget, if, it's Christmas time, it's the holiday season, we can't be throwing money left and right, this program is incredibly affordable. And we already have a wait list for it. There's tons of people that have already, signed up and said that they're interested. So if this sounds like the program for you, if you're ready for help, but maybe not fully ready yet to do like one-on-one coaching or one-on-one therapy, this is a really great program for you. So if you want more information, if you're interested in learning more, go to evolveventurestech.com/therapy, and it has all the answers that you need.
We're so excited for this to finally exist because honestly, we've had so many conversations with many of you, our listeners, the community, friends, family, and it seems like this is just the thing that would be so perfect to fill the gaps where they're felt and to really be that space for you to actually focus on you instead of having you come last. This is a program where you can do you at your own pace, in your own comfort zone, while knowing that it's a guaranteed approach to growth. And it is a sustainable approach to your mental health. So learn more on our website. Reach out to either one of us. We would love to have a dialogue around how this can help you thrive. And we appreciate so much you joining us in this journey and on this episode.
We'll see you all in the next one. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.